I'm recording now. So
Okay.
it's so nice to see you. I
Nice
think
to see you too.
there was a long time. I think more than 10 years. Already 10 years.
Yeah, almost 10 years. Yeah, almost 10
Yeah,
years. Yeah.
yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
It's a long time. It's a long time.
Yeah,
I
it's a
remember.
long time
I remember the last time that you came to Rio.
to
It's
Brazil. Yeah, yeah.
so nice. So nice.
Yeah, thank you. I should come again.
So again, it's so nice to see you. I'm so pleasure to be here with you. It's a big challenge for me. uh, This
Okay.
kind of
To do in English.
podcast
Yeah.
and in English,
Yeah.
it will be a challenge.
Yeah.
So I'll have to speak a little bit in Portuguese just to explain for people in the audience why are we doing this interview in English, okay?
Okay. Okay.
So, bom, pessoal, bom dia, boa tarde, boa noite. Eu não sei a hora que você está vendo, mas essa entrevista vai ser muito especial. Essa entrevista vai ser com o nosso convidado, o senhor Sola. É um executivo de uma empresa multinacional de RH para a implementação de sistemas de consultoria para pequenas e médias empresas. Ele está na Alemanha e hoje a gente vai falar com ele diretamente da Alemanha. Essa entrevista vai ser em inglês, então vai ser um desafio para a gente, mas acredito que vocês vão gostar porque é muito interessante. So, I'm back again.
And I can say to the Ben. Yeah.
Well, yeah, let me start here. Just to do a quick presentation. You
Yeah.
are a business executive with more than over 25 years of work experience in tech industry. I'll be reading here. We talked,
Okay. Yeah.
but it's I separate two words here, and then I will explain. You have spent numerous years of working on a global HR system implementation and consult with major international organizations and fast-growing small and medium-sized business. At the heart of what you do is helping business understand HRIT solution, including bespoke development and off-the-shelf technology. You has gained extensive experience in the HR technology and data arena as a client, implementer of service, and seasonal advisor. Outside of your profession, you has a passion, big heart of empowering nations and people. This passion led you to create the Josh Leadership Academy and a recently published book titled Manage Up for Career Progression. You also spend a significant amount of time traveling across the world to empower churches and their leaders. It's a little resume, just a
Yeah.
little bit. It's I know it's difficult how to resume an entire life in two paragraphs.
Yeah. But it worked as a short introduction. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was excited, but because you have a passion, I separate these words
Yes.
in both sides of your life, and like a professional or a personal life. I separate this little word passion. I
Yeah.
think it's important for you
Yes.
to have this passion.
Yes, it is. Yes.
So, what's your story?
Yeah. So my story is that I was born in London, England, to Nigerian parents, and when I was 8 years old, I went back to Nigeria to study my secondary school and university. I studied civil engineering, and I worked as an
Oh,
engineer building roads and bridges and shops in Nigeria for about a year during my national service. And then my fiance, who is my wife now, moved to the UK and I followed her. And when I got to the UK, there were no engineering jobs. So I ended up working security. as a security
Oh,
guard for about
nice.
18 months doing security. And then one day when I was doing my shift in security, I saw an advert for a graduate placement. And I thought, I'm a graduate, I'm black, and they're looking for black graduates. So I applied and I got the job. And after doing the placement for 1 year, they liked me so much that they said I should stay, and they gave me another job. And I started learning how to program. I taught myself how to program, and after about 2 years of doing that, I went out and looked for a job as an analyst programmer. So I used to
Yeah,
program in Visual Basic and Power Builder, and then I went to work for a college for lawyers, where I was helping lawyers in the back office with their exams and writing programs to help them with that. And then I went to work for a company called GlaxoSmithKline, which I think you have in Rio. And I worked there for 7 years doing different roles. I was an analyst programmer, a business analyst, and a project manager, then a program director. And having
yeah.
done the program director role, I decided to my friends and my colleagues were telling me, "Oh, why don't you go into consulting?" So I went into consulting, and I worked for a company called Accenture, uh, which I also think you have in
Accenture.
Brazil. Yeah, I
Yeah,
worked for Accenture for 2 years as a consultant, and then I got headhunted by a company called PricewaterhouseCoopers. They are a big audit company, and I worked there. I entered as a manager, then I became a senior manager, then I became a director. And when I got to the level of director, there was one level to go. But then I decided to go back into industry, and I worked for a food delivery company, um,
oh,
which was called Deliveroo. I don't think you have that in Brazil, but I know you have many food delivery companies in
yeah.
Brazil. And then after that, my job before this particular job was I worked for a company called Process, which you do know in Brazil
Yeah.
because they own OLX Brazil. You know OLX Brazil? Yeah.
Oh,
So
yes.
Process, yeah, he owns OLX, PayU, Tencent, and Stack Overflow as examples of companies that the company owned. And I worked for them for 5 years. And now, at the moment, I work for myself as a consultant, a coach, and a mentor. So that's my story, quickly.
But it's so nice to see how you you came and then develop your own career. So you saw what the industry was necessary for this area, and then you started to see, now I have this knowledge, and now I have to expand my knowledge for other people or the company. So it's so nice to see.
Thank you. Thank you.
So what motivates you, and what keeps you motivated to do what you do now?
I think people motivate me. I love people. I love investing in people. I love coaching people. I love seeing other people grow. I don't know, there's a new word that is going around with the millennial generation is we rise by raising others. Like we go up as we take other people up. So
Yeah,
if you keep taking other people up, you keep going up. So what motivates me is seeing other people rise, like other people develop, other people get better, other people do different things. It really, really motivates me. It really gives me a passion. And whether it's in my secular job or in my faith, or in my family, I really am motivated by people, and I'm an extrovert, so I like to engage with people. I like to connect with people. If you look at my LinkedIn, I think I have 16,000 people in my connections, right? So I like that whole connection and building family, even in the workplace. And so that's what motivates me. And I think seeing other people do well keeps me motivated. So I remember one time I was working in a company called Deliveroo, and everybody who worked for me was under the age of 28. Very young people. Everybody.
yeah,
My head
so
of
different.
tech was very different. Very young, very energetic, but I was so fulfilled in that role because I could see them getting better and better and better. So yeah, that's what motivates me.
Nice, nice. So, what's your expectation for the future in your area? You already saw this. You like to connect people, but what's your expectation? What do you see in this generation?
Yeah,
But because the future
for the
is
future.
already here,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
we don't know how to things are going to be at 10 years, but
From now.
the
Yeah.
future are already here.
Yeah. So I think we all know, I think the starting point is if you look at COVID, right? COVID changed the world, right?
Yeah,
The whatever the future was gonna be, COVID fasted the forward. Like maybe it was like, oh, this is gonna come, this is gonna come, but COVID just went
it's
quick,
now. It's now. We don't have so much
accelerated
time. It's
everything.
now.
No, no, no. It's like it made us realize that actually we think we have time, but actually time is very short. So I think COVID was a gift because it made us realize that the world, we keep saying the world is global, but COVID made us realize that the world is truly global.
Yeah,
And think about it, Lucas. If it wasn't for COVID, we wouldn't be doing this now. You would
yeah,
say, oh, wait until you come to Brazil, or maybe when you come to Berlin, or when you come to London. But because of COVID, we are all now ready for online things. Like we can be, I can be helping people in Peru
yeah,
from where I sit right now, and hopefully people in Rio or wherever this is going to be shown will get a benefit. So I think the, the true globalization of the world is part of our future. That's number one. Number two is that technology and data, as we've already seen with Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, whatever you look at, food delivery in Brazil, people are now ordering, it's changed the Brazilian culture. The
yeah.
Brazilian culture that you go and you eat together as a family, you have your ponjuqueiros together as a family. But now what's happening is that people are now calling or emailing to get food delivered to them. So the world is changing because technology is influencing everything. And then when we thought that we had a handle of technology, then you have AI, ChatGPT.
Yeah,
Now you can go to ChatGPT and say, write me a book about a man called Lucas who lives in Brazil and does podcasts, and it
we'll
will write
create
it
a
for
book.
you.
Yeah,
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 it will write it for you. So I think the future belongs to the people who are going to be willing to say, how can I be creative? How can I be innovative? Right? Because there are certain things like, there's certain things that AI can't do. AI can't be innovative and creative. AI hasn't got the experience. He might have access to all the internet, but it doesn't have your experience. So I think the future belongs to storytellers, creatives, and innovators. So if you can somehow, in whatever job you do, it doesn't really matter whether you're a doctor, a teacher, an engineer, a software developer, if you can be a storyteller, an innovator, and a creator, then the future belongs to you. Think of different ways of doing things. Think of different ways of leveraging technology. Think of different ways of using ChatGPT. Think of different
yeah,
ways, and I use these tools to create something more powerful.
yeah.
And I think the future is going to be faster than the past. Like we're going to see more acceleration, more books written, more podcasts, because now we have all the tools to make it happen. Now
And
people
all
believe
connected.
that it's all connected. Yeah, all connected. So we're going to live in a more connected world. An idea that starts in Sao Paulo all of a sudden could be in London. So I can now invest in a company in Sao Paulo that I've
Yeah,
never been to. Man, I've never
totally.
been to Sao Paulo. I've been to Rio, but I've never been to Sao Paulo. But now somebody can do a video call with me and show me, oh, this is the property you might want to buy in Sao Paulo. And I look at it and say, okay, yeah, sign, sign, go. I've now owned a
Yeah,
house in Sao
a
Paulo.
hundred percent.
I've never been there. Yeah. So I think the future is exciting, scary at the same time, because the flip side of all of that is security. How am I going to keep your information secure? Data privacy. Um, you know, there is also danger to young children because of people who want to kind of be pervasive to them. But I do think that in the midst of all of that, the future is bright. And if you can just be innovative, creative, and be a storyteller, then you have a bright, bright future.
Good. Yeah, it doesn't matter what
Yeah,
professional or
no,
what
it
career
doesn't. No,
do you want to be. You have
no.
to keep these three
Yeah,
words. Yeah,
yeah.
I like it. I like it.
Storyteller, creative, innovator. If you're a doctor, tell the story of how your profession is helping people. Be creative around the solution that you give to people because your patients are going to come to you now. They've already checked ChatGPT. I have this disease. Which treatment should I have?
Yeah,
So you know that they're coming to you with that. So you have to be creative and say, well, yes, ChatGPT told you to go and use this drug, but the ChatGPT doesn't know that you are underweight. ChatGPT doesn't know that you are this tall. So I'm going to help you to say, with the knowledge you have, with this fact I can see with my eyes, I'm going to give you a better solution. That's being creative. And being innovative is to say, how do we, before the client even comes to us, we know what to kind of tell them. So I think, like you said, any profession
yeah,
that you do, whether you're a bus driver, even as a bus driver, people that come into your bus, I don't know whether you entered Uber, and some people tell you stories. By the time you leave the Uber, and you're in a different country, you know more about the country because the Uber driver has told you the
yeah.
story, right?
Totally.
That's it. We were recently as a family, we went to Croatia. And we went to town and we were coming back. And then the Uber driver said, oh, did you see the sunset? We said, no. Says, what? You came to Zadar in Croatia? You did not go and see the sunset? I feel like I should give you a beating, right? You must see the sunset, right? And then the next day we went to see the sunset, and the whole town comes to see the sunset. And then later we found out that it's the best sunset in the world, right? You can
Yeah,
Google it, one of the best sunsets. But that's because the Uber driver told us that story. So you
yeah,
see, the power of the story made our holiday more interesting because he told the story, right? And I think
yeah.
that's the real thing that wherever you are, just keep telling stories and we will build a better future.
Nice, nice. So, in your history or career, uh,
Yeah,
what was the most important key to you
yeah.
that revealed that you were in the right way, that you were in the now I know what I'm going to do, what I have to do. What was when you figured it out this?
Yeah. I think for me, the most important thing that has helped me to reveal my path has been mentorship. Having mentors and coaches has been very, very powerful. I think a mentor shows you the way to go and
Yeah,
shows you the shortcuts on how to get there. Mentors are very powerful. They help you understand what you're trying to do. Mentor helps you see your future. And a mentor invests in your future. A mentor looks at you and says, I can see there's greatness in you, and I will help you get there. So a mentor is very powerful. And if you don't have a mentor, maybe a coach. A coach is the one that says, come on, you can do it. I know you can do it.
yeah,
You want to do it? I'm going to help you do it. Come on, let's go. Let's go. Run faster, run, work harder, read that book, read this. So I think for me, the first thing I would say is having the right mentors around me has really helped me, chart my course. Every time I was kind of like, what do I do now? What do I do now? There's always been a mentor there that has
nice.
told me, hey, if you want to get to this point, this is what you do. So that's the first thing I would say. Mentorship, definitely. Later in life, like in the last 5 years, I found reading has also been very helpful. Reading books,
Yeah,
I try and read about 10 books, 11 books, business book, leadership books, coaching books every year. And I think these books also have helped shape me a bit. So I think the two things that I can say ultimately are, mentorship and coaching, reading, and maybe, now that I think about it, maybe there's a third thing, which is family. You know,
nice.
when
Which
I
have
think
a
about,
enormous influence in our lives.
yes, they do, and they have an influence such that they kind of help you think. Like, when my children were young, I wanted to have a good job so I can take care of them. When my children are older, I want to have a good job that gives me freedom so I can spend more time with them. So I
Yeah.
think your family influence, your family gives you courage, your family emboldens you, and your family is not just your biological family. There are other people that become part of your family. There are friends that encourage you, that challenge you. So yeah, I would say friends and family have been also a very good guide. And I can give an example of such person, like your auntie Rosalie, right? She's your auntie,
Yeah.
right? But she inspired me in my faith. She inspired me to look for different things in life, like to say, hey, you're here, but you can do that. You can be better. She always said to me,
Yeah,
you can
she
be
does.
better. You can do that better. She's when you look at it and she says, oh, well, I only have a little. She said, no, you can have more. You can have more. And she was this person that really just every time encouraged me to go for more. Like, oh, I'm not sure I should go for that promotion. I said, why not? You should go for it. You'll be qualified. You'll get it. So sometimes you need friends and family. So let me recap. Number one, mentors and coaches, very, very important. Number two, you need to um, read,
Read
read, read,
books.
read, read books, good books. And then number three is the value of your friends and your family. It's very, very important to motivate you and keep you going forward.
Nice, nice. And I'm getting used to read. I think
Yeah,
it's a good habit, and
it's a good habit. Yeah,
it's also mentor you to
yeah,
do
it
nice
does.
things, to write what do you want to do. And I think it's a good perspective. So when you read a biography, for example,
Yeah,
it's so nice to see how this person, or a woman, or how a guy came to a decision that you are so confused, so difficult in your life, and then you read and okay, now I know how it does.
yeah. And I think this point is so important that I wonder whether you don't mind just repeating it in Portuguese, those 3 points, so that people really get it, that they
Yeah.
understand it. Just say it in Portuguese.
Então, pessoal, é muito importante aqui. Ele falou sobre mentoria, ter um mentor, um coach. Falou sobre ler, ler livros interessantes, livros que realmente vão, livros bons, e outra, família, amigos. Então, são três pilares ali que ele acha muito interessante para a gente saber como que a gente está no caminho certo. So, it's
Yeah,
those three points: mentoring,
yeah, those 3 points.
reading, and
Yeah,
family.
yes,
So, moving on. Do you
yeah.
have some disappointments in your career, and what do you do for turning around?
And yeah, there's definitely disappointments. Maybe opportunities that I missed. That's number one. Number two, um, not thinking of a move through. So like I moved around, but sometimes I moved, but I didn't get more money. I didn't get more responsibility. I just wanted to move, and sometimes I think I rushed one or two moves. But I think the more I got mentoring and coaching, so that balanced that one out. Before, because
Yeah,
I just used to react. Oh, I don't like this. I'm just gonna go right. So I think to balance that one out, I've always now used mentors and coaches. Before I make a move, I just say, hey, my mentor, I want to make this coach, I want to make this move. Do you think this is a good move? Right. And if they
yeah,
say, hey, let's think about it, let's, think about the consequences, I think, you know, yeah. So that would be so one would be, moving too quickly. Two would be when I doubted myself. So there was a time in the early beginning of my thing I doubted myself. And to overcome that, I just realized I coined a phrase because I was working as a security guard, but I was a civil engineer, and people were looking down on me. So I coined a phrase
well,
that says, "Your uniform should not define you. The fact that I'm wearing security doesn't make me. The fact that I'm doing security doesn't make me a security guard, right?
yeah, yeah,
You are what you are in your head. So
yeah.
when I started off,
The
I
mind, the
allowed,
mindset was
yes,
already was
mindset.
different.
Yes. My mindset was different, and then I learned in that process that to have a different mindset, that it doesn't matter whether I am the lowest paid person. My mindset should be I need to do a good job. One second. Sorry. Hopefully you can edit that out. Yeah, so having the right mindset is very, very important. And when I started off in my career, I didn't have that. But now I think that's some of the things that I've overcome. So yeah, so those have been the things that I would say there's been disappointments in my career and the things that I've overcome them with.
Yeah. Okay. And just for curiosity, how many
Yeah.
countries did you already moved? Now you,
How
you
many
you are
countries?
in Germany.
Yeah, so now I'm in Germany. I used to live in the UK. I worked a little bit in the US. I lived in Nigeria. So yeah, five, I think.
Fine.
Five where I lived for a long
Uh,
time. But in terms of countries I've visited for work or for
yeah,
church, I'm at 49 countries now.
49.
Yeah,
It's
49.
a it's 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 huge. It's a huge.
Yeah,
It's a big experience.
yeah. And I think Dr. Seuss says this. I mean, I know it's from a children's book, but Dr. Seuss says the more books you read, the more places you would go, like in your
Yeah,
mind. But actually, going to a different place, you learn something about the culture, you learn
it's
something
different.
different. Yeah, it's very, so when you go to a different place, and I think for those 49 countries I've been to, I've always learned something different.
Yeah,
I've learned something different, and something of that country stays with you. You know,
yeah,
you can't lose that touch. And it leaves it puts a mindset in you. The same thing with as you hear other people's languages and
yeah. It's
other
different.
people's
It's totally
culture.
different.
It's very, very different.
The
I
the,
think,
the touch, the view,
yeah,
the people, the food.
yeah,
It's totally different.
yeah. And everywhere you go, there is like something that stays with you. So when I came to Rio, going up the mountains, and taking the cable car from one
Yeah,
peak to another peak, the views, you cannot lose it. And then the big picture of Jesus on the hill,
yeah.
it just stays in your mind. You can't lose those
You can't look.
images, right?
Yes.
You can't lose. And I think because you have that, it kind of expands your horizon to be a more rounded person because you learn different things about people's culture, the way people do things differently, the way Brazilians love the beach and they love to have a vibrant life is very different to Amsterdam where people are kind of like more conservative or different. So you learn different things about different cultures, and the truth of the matter that the world is really global. So you will one day be working with somebody that's not from your country or from your
Yeah,
language, right? So
yeah.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
totally different. Then you read a book and then you
yeah,
travel for the city that's
yeah,
already read in a book. So,
yeah.
nice. So you already said this here, but which tips you like to had received when you started?
Which tips did I receive when I started? Wow, it's been a long, long journey, right? Like I said, mentors have been very helpful. So let's start from the
Yeah,
very beginning. Like even when I started off with a security job, um, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to operate. I didn't know what to do. But I had a mentor who showed me, like, this is how you do the job. This is what makes you do the job better.
yeah,
This is you do this, you do that. And I think people really guide you if you ask questions. So asking questions, having goals, asking questions,
nice,
having goals, setting goals is very, very important. And then, you know, people learn differently. But for me, writing things down and referring back to them is very, very helpful. So those would be the kind of tips that I've learned. And also, when you start with the view that, hey, this is not the end, there's so much more ahead of you. When I
yeah,
started almost 30 years ago in my career, I didn't realize I was going to have all these experiences, meet all these different people, work with all these different companies. And I look back now and I think it's been a great ride. I'm looking forward to the next 10 years of what God would do, or how my career would change, as I'm open to see what's possible. Because you
Nice.
you can't stand still. You can't stand still. You have to be always evolving, always agile. When I was a programmer, I wanted to be a programmer for life. And then I realized, oh, these programming jobs, they're going to India. They're going to be outsourced. So I had to change.
Yeah.
I had to be agile, be ready to say, okay, what's next? What's new? What's coming? And in the midst of all of that, not lose your own long-term story. Right? I say something now to people. I say, what's your end game? What's your end game?
Yeah.
What does the end look like? Because we're all going to live longer because of modern medicine and better food and better health. So we're probably all going to live longer than our parents did. So what's your plan? You have to think about it. Yeah. Long
Nice.
term planning.
Nice. I like it what you said, that you like to write things.
Yeah.
So it's a nice habit. I learned this for an old friend, and I now I carry with me. Everything I get notes. I'm writing some things. I'm writing goals, uh, things that I don't know if I'm
Yeah.
going to see or to achieve, but I know that I'm starting to writing. Then in the future, I will see if this
Yeah.
realize or not. It's
Yeah.
nice. So, which recommendation of literature you already said it one, but which recommendation
Yeah.
of literature would you give to someone that are interested to follow your steps?
Yeah. I think recommendation of books is always hard because you almost need to know where somebody is on their story. Because I would recommend something to somebody who's at the beginning of their career. I would recommend something different for somebody who's in the middle of their career. I would recommend something that's for somebody who's at the end of their career. But in all of those things, there might be one recommendation or two, sorry, that I can recommend that almost doesn't matter where you are in your career. Um, then I'll probably make two or three recommendations. One is a book called Winning. It's by a guy called Tim Grove. It's called
Okay.
Winning. The book is called Winning. When I first read this book, I was halfway through the book. I threw the book away. Like I threw it away. I was like, no, this is too hard. I don't want
it's
to read
not.
this
It's not for
book.
me.
No, I don't want to read it. Then I went and I picked up the book again and I read it. And now every year, at the beginning of the year, every January, I will read this book
Oh,
just
nice.
to put my mind in the frame. It's called Winning. And the guy who wrote the book is the guy who coached Michael Jordan for NBA. So he was Michael Jordan's coach.
Yeah.
And he talked about the concept of
Let's
winning
me.
and how,
I'll
yeah,
write
yeah,
this here.
yeah, it's okay. It's called Winning. Yeah, Winning, Winning.
We put
I can
the
send you.
legend here. We put the legend
Yeah,
here
yeah, we can put a
after.
link later. I'll give you a
Yeah.
link. Yeah. So that's a book that I think is very, very, very powerful to read. It really helps you think about the concept of winning and how you define winning. And one of the things he says in there about winning is the fact that winning doesn't take any prisoners. If you win yesterday, winning doesn't remember you. You're only a winner if you win today.
Yeah.
Right? Yesterday, you won yesterday, but today, are
Totally.
you going to win
Totally.
again? You're going to put the same
You have
effort, the
to
same
win
thing
every day. Yeah.
every day, right? And then he makes you realize that winning is a fight. And if you want to win, he tells you how to win. So I think that's one book I would definitely recommend for anybody, no matter which stage of life you are. If you're a leader, I'll recommend a book called Leaders Eat Last. Um, I'll send
I
you the link.
already saw it. I already saw
Yeah,
this book.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's called Leaders Eat Last by uh, Simon Sinek. He really helps you think as a leader to think of yourself last and think about people first. and it's a very, very challenging book. And then I'll make one more recommendation. So I'm making three recommendations.
Yeah.
Number one was Winning, and I will
Winning.
give you the link later. Number two is Leaders Eat Last. And number three is called Tribe of Mentors. It's a book called Tribe of Mentors. It's like a collation. And they basically talk to, I can't remember, maybe 50 people and ask them like key questions. What's the thing that motivated you? What's your key achievement? And in this book, in one place, you have all these different voices,
Yeah.
actors, producers, venture capitalists, CEOs. They're all in this book. And it's a very, very inspiring book. And the good thing about it is that you can read one bit or you can read another bit. You can read different bits. So three recommendations there.
Nice.
And then, of course, the fourth recommendation will be my own book. You know,
Of course.
um, so yeah, so I'll give you those recommendations, and then when you post it, you can put them in the chat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course, of course.
Okay.
So, which phrase changed your life?
Which phrase changed my life? There have been many phrases that have changed my life. Um, the first one I can remember was innovate or die. Yeah.
Innovators die.
No, innovate or you die. So if you
Ah,
do, it's
okay.
like
Innovator
if you
die.
do
Okay.
not innovate, you're going to die. So I learned that a long time ago, almost 20 years ago. Innovate or die. And made me think about everything you're doing. How can you bring innovation to it? How can you do this differently? How can you just do that 1% better than you did it last time? How can you do it 1% better than anybody else has done it? And if you always have this view of innovating and creating, it will make you a better person. That's number one. Then number two, um, a phrase that changed me was there's only one thing you can change. That's you.
Yeah.
You can't change your boss. You can't change your employers. You can't change your company. You can only change you, how you feel about what you're hearing.
Yeah.
You can only change yourself to be a better person. You can only, you can't focus on, I'm gonna, in this process that we're having this conversation, I can't change what you're gonna say, but I can change what I say. I can
Yeah.
change how I react. And I think realizing that you have to be the best version of yourself is very, very important. So somebody telling me that you can't like in your marriage, you can't blame your spouse, you can't blame your wife or your husband. The only person you can really change is you, right?
Yeah.
With your children, you can only change your attitudes towards them. You can't change what they do or how they're going to behave because nobody's your robot, right? So you
Yeah.
have to focus on you. Like if somebody does something bad to you, your response, you can only control your response. You can't
Yeah.
control how they respond. You can't control anything else. So I think those two things, innovate or die, and remember that the only thing you can change is yourself. Combined with that statement was the third statement, which is always try to be the best version of yourself.
Nice.
Always try to be the best version of yourself, right?
Nice.
So if you go to bed and think, okay, I was a good version of myself yesterday. So today, how am I going to be a better version of myself? It will always make you to be self-improving, self-aware, not critical, not judgmental, but just say, hey, okay, I was, 10 yesterday. Can I be 10.1 today? And
Yeah.
if you always keep focusing on presenting a better version of yourself, you'll be a better person.
Yeah. I saw this your second your
Yeah.
second phrase that you said. The most powerful,
Yeah.
the most power that you have is the power of your reaction. It's not
Yeah.
what people say, not what people are doing for yourself, but how you can react for the situation, how you can
Mm.
react with your with what are you saying about this thing or about it's just how you react things. It's totally
Yeah.
different. So it will change real really your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
So not finished, but the last part. I will have
Yeah.
quick questions. Okay,
Yeah.
you we don't combine anything, but if you don't know or if you don't want to respond,
Answer? Yeah.
yeah, you say pass, jump for another.
Yeah,
I don't feel so good to respond. So okay, let's see here a good question that I prepare. What is one of your biggest challenge in life?
my biggest challenge in life. Well, my biggest challenge in life that I didn't even know I had was that I have dyslexia. Do you know what that is? I'm
Yeah,
dyslexic.
yeah,
Yeah. So, but I didn't know. So I didn't get any help when I was in school or university. I only found out when I was a senior manager at PwC, and my boss was like, "There's something wrong with your spelling. We need to help you. If you're going to be better, you need to fix this." And that's when I discovered that I had dyslexia. So
oh
that's
boy,
one of the biggest challenges. But now that I know and it's been diagnosed, at least I can manage it better. But yeah, that was a big challenge. Yeah.
yeah. Uh,
Sorry,
who
that's a
are
deep answer to your quick question.
but it's really is a big the biggest challenge because
Yeah.
change your life. Okay. So, who are the most influential people in your life?
Most influential people in my life. My dad was a very, very big influence. I've talked about mentors, all through my career. I've probably had 10 mentors in my life. They've been great influences in my life. Um, I do think that reading reading books, some people like Simon Sinek or a guy who's dead now called Jamie Buckingham, the way they wrote, I almost felt like they were sitting down and coaching and talking to me. So yeah, those people have really influenced who I am. Yeah,
Cool,
definitely.
cool, so cool. Uh, what is your favorite thing about yourself and why?
What is my favorite thing about myself? I think the favorite thing about myself is that I like people. I think that's my favorite thing. I think not everybody. I realize that in the world, that not everybody likes people. Like I like hanging
Yeah,
around people. I get my energy from people. I like investing in people. Yeah. So I think I like that about myself. I like that I like people. Right. I wouldn't want to
yeah,
wake up one day and all of a sudden I don't like people anymore. It
yeah.
make me sad.
Yeah. Okay, what's your biggest fear?
Ooh, biggest
That's
fear.
a good one.
And also, I think you have to that question depends on where you are, right? Where you are in life.
Yeah,
Like when you're younger, your biggest fear is that am I going to make it? Am I going to be successful? I think now, as an older person, and I'm getting older, right? Is maybe my biggest fear is that you become irrelevant. That's my
it's a
biggest
it's
fear.
a, it's a good perspective also.
Yeah. Because of where I'm at, the age you're at, the younger generation, you just want to make sure that you don't become irrelevant. But then I read a book called $1 Trillion Coach. See, I read a lot of books, and I realized that if you keep adding value, you will never be irrelevant. It's just that you be relevant to different people at different times. So, yeah, there's another recommendation of the book, $1 Trillion Coach. That's 4 books now. Five
Understand.
books.
4 books. Yeah, I would have to put here. Let me see here.
Yeah.
The color book.
Don't worry, I will send you the list.
Okay,
Uh,
just for don't forget here.
yeah.
Right. Okay. Uh, what's something surprising
Yeah.
you learned about yourself?
What's the surprising I learned about myself? I think I think the one of the things that I think would is still surprising to me is the fact that even though I had dyslexia, I have been able to write books. I'm an author. Even though I have dyslexia, I'm a great speaker. I I take pride. I love speaking. I love platforms, and I've been privileged to speak to 10,000 people or
Oh,
100 people. It doesn't really matter to me. And I think that's, considering what I know now about myself and the challenges that I have, I'm really glad that somehow I found my path to
understood.
speak. So yeah, I think I the thing I like about myself and I'm happy about is the fact, or surprised myself, is that I've ended up being a good speaker. So
Nice, nice. Do you have any regrets?
any regrets? Yeah, there are. I think we all have regrets. I think my biggest regrets are where, because of short-sightedness, I took decisions. Maybe
Yes.
one that comes to my mind is many, many years ago. This is a long time ago. It's like maybe 15 years ago. A guy wrote me an email and he copied other people, you know. And I was thinking, oh, he's copied like 20 other people. So now I'm gonna market myself and reply to all. And you know, after I sent the email, the guy called me. I was like, "Why did you reply to all?" I
Mm.
was like, "Oh no, I just replied to all." And he was like, "No, you were trying to market yourself." And yeah, and he was right.
He knew. He knew
He
this. He
knew.
knew.
Yeah,
He
he
knew.
knew.
He knew.
Yeah. And my regret is that I wasn't humble in that moment to actually say, you know what, I'm wrong. Thank you for correcting me. I did later on, maybe like 3 years later, I went to him and I said, but that's one of my regrets, that, when I'm wrong, I I have regret. And I'm sure there are places all over my life where I've made mistakes and I didn't own up quickly to my mistake. So that's one of my regrets in life, that, I look back and I think, I could have just been honest, or maybe I should have even done that email in the first place, right? Because
Yeah.
if I did send the email, I wouldn't have to apologize, and when I'm confronted, I wouldn't have to lie, So
Yeah.
you see all those things build out. So yeah,
All the
I think
consequences.
all the consequences. So I think for me, the things I regret is where I could have avoided a complex consequence if I just didn't do it. If I just wasn't letting my fear or get in the way. So yeah, that would be what I would say.
Okay. Uh, if money were not a factor,
Yeah,
what you do with your time?
if money was not a factor, like if I had all the money in the world, I think I would literally travel around the world helping people, helping
Nice.
startups, um, coaching people, mentoring people, helping people. That's what I do. Part of what I do now is I help startups, how to they scale their business. I would just do that, without thinking about it, and be able to travel anywhere and help anyone wherever they are. That would be my that would be what it would be.
Yeah. I wasn't expect less. Just because all things you said here, I wasn't expect less. Yes,
Thank you, thank you.
yes. Uh, let's see.
I will have, just to be clear though, I will still eat in good restaurants and fly good flights, right? Yeah,
The last one this
yeah.
year, a good question. What is your morning routine?
My morning routine. I think my morning routine is different whether I am, because I travel a lot, whether I am on the road traveling or
Okay.
if I am at home. So if I'm on the road traveling, my morning routine would be more to kind of find some way to reflect. So after your shower and your breakfast, I would like to have a walk, just to kind of say, okay, ready for the day, got these meetings ahead of me. That would be what I would like to do. But when I'm at home, working at home, because now, because of COVID, we spent a lot of time working at home.
Yeah.
And I think my morning routine is more like, wake up, check the kitchen is happy, like make sure everything is
Everything's
tidy. And then,
fine.
yeah, everything is fine. And
Yeah.
then I start to work, right? And then maybe when I'm working at home, at the end of the day, I like to have a walk. And I'm lucky I live near nature. So I like walking. Walking will be one of
Oh,
my favorite things because it just clears your mind, helps you
yeah.
think, helps you process. Some of my
Refresh
best,
the process.
yeah, refresh the brain. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, so that would be kind of my routine. Yeah.
Nice, nice, nice to know. So, uh, uh, leave a message. You can leave a message for the audience, for people, for the friends. But what message would you to leave now? That point of your career, that point of your life. Which message do you like to leave?
So my first message would be obrigado for listening. Yeah. I think I
It's
think
my pleasure.
the message to if I could give a message to the world is be the best version of yourself, you know.
I noted
Um,
this here. I noted.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Be the best version of yourself and realize that you're a gift to the world, right? Whoever you are, whoever you become, ultimately, you don't do that in isolation. You either are blessing somebody or receiving from somebody. So be the best version of yourself and be a giver. Find opportunities to give back and to invest in others. Because, like I said in the beginning, the more you raise others, the more you rise. So if you want to
Yeah.
be great, try and make other people great. And guess what? It will give you back. That's my view. Yeah.
So so cool. So cool. Thank you for the opportunity to listen you again. It's my pleasure. Literally,
Yeah.
it's my pleasure, and I was so exciting to begin. And now I know that my feeling was right. And
That's good.
thank you for
Thank
all the time you spent here.
you. Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye bye.